This is a black locust, and I took it from a fallen tree that I picked up that a tree service was disposing of, and I said I'll take it because I can make bowls out of this. So what I'm doing is I cut it in a certain working length, and I sealed it before I stored it because to keep the moisture in the bowl. There's a lot of moisture in this wood right now. That's why it's so heavy. When it dries out, it doesn't cut as well. I can make a bowl out of this piece. It's called a bowl blank. It's not quite a bowl blank yet. I still have to shape the bowl on the bandsaw. Here's my mallet that I made in my first class. It's my hammer now. So I'm going to mark a hole in the middle of this stump. I'm going to mark the outside edges. We're using, this will cover the outside. The outside will go right here. It's going to be hard to mark. Always use safety equipment. Measure twice, cut once. It saves you a lot of time and a lot of material. So we have to center it. So here's 8.5, so let's do 4 1/4. And right about here. I'm mounting the wood on the lathe right now. I'm using this wood because I've never used it before, so I never know what to expect, how it's going to turn. There we go. Okay, now it's going forward. And what you want to do is turn it up to a point where this whole blade starts vibrating. See how it's vibrating? You don't want that. So you turn it down to where it stops vibrating. You want the tool rest parallel to the side of the wood, but you don't want it hitting. So that's going to hit, so you get back up a little bit until you make sure that it's clear all the way. Okay? Alright, so now I'm going to take my favorite bowl gouge. It's a Thompson 1/2 inch, and we're going to start rounding it as we go. And to do that, the tip always has a bevel. And you always put the bevel up next to the wood. And at first, it takes a while before you get it rounded. At this point, I can't even see the wood, but I'm going to still cutting until I get to the very end. I'm going to turn it off. You'll see how much I've cut. But it's going to get rounder. Then it's going to get easier. As wood dries out, it distorts. It changes the shape as it dries out. So what you want to do is do a rough cut and then put it in a bag and let it sit for a few months till it dries out, and then you redo it again because it's dried out and it's stopped moving. So then you can finish it that way. So there's two steps to turning wood. There's a wet cut and the final cut. This is where the bowl will be, the inside of the bowl will be on this side. And sometimes you can cut away the inside of the bowl and leave a little bit of bark all the way around, and that's called a live edge. So you have a finished bowl with a little bit of bark right around the edges. These are my first bowls. I made 6 of them. And each one is better than the next one. I was supposed to make 8 of them, but 2 of them didn't work out. I made firewood out of them. 55-degree bowl gouge, 45-degree bowl gouge, 65-degree bowl gouge. 65 is when you go deep into the bowl, inside the bowl. This is a carbide tip. That's for something else. These are spindle gouges. Spindle gouge for taking off lots of material. Look at the difference in size. But I wouldn't use it on this. This is a tenon, and it's what will attach to this chuck when I turn it around the other way. But in the meantime, before I do that, I'm going to start shaping this into a bowl. Cut a curve, you move your body and your body swivels around the curve like this. And you keep the back part down here against your hip. You can see the curve up here up on the silhouette. So this is a good place to look at it while you're turning it, because then you see it, the bumps getting smoother and sort of how you want it to look. It's easier to look at this way than it is to look at this while you're cutting. I'm going to shape this and so that the bottom part of the bowl is wider than the top of the bowl. This is still flat, so I have to cut all this away to make all this nice and smooth all the way to the top. This I may not be able to do a live bowl because there's too much bark. I'm going to have to cut this bark out all the way probably. Okay, so let's just get this rounded all the way out. So it's all rounded, no flat spots. Just got to shape it around the bottom to make it more bowl-like. Kind of clean this up in the front, the top of the bowl. A little bit more now. I got to finish sanding this to get it nice and smooth, really smooth. And then I will take this off, turn the bowl around, mount it on the chuck, and then start working on the inside. Let's see what it looks like now. Half a bowl. I'll start cutting from the inside and working my way out, going deeper and deeper and deeper, until I find a spot that I want to stop. And I might stop it. I could stop it out here, or I could leave it higher and leave more live edge, and then go inside and hollow it out from here to the outside and on the inside. So I got started because I was retired, and I stopped in this store called Rockler that sells tools and wood. And I was talking to a lady. She said, well, I joined this guild called the Ohio Valley Woodturners Guild, and I learned how to make bowls and pens. And I said, I'd rather make bowls. So she said, well, join the guild and they'll teach you how to do it. So I joined the guild, and I did it all in the guild because I didn't have any tools. But I liked it so much that I went out and built this studio, and I started buying tools. And my first year's goal was to make enough bowls and different bowls that I could give them to my kids for Christmas. This is too fat. You want to make them thinner than this. I like thin-walled bowls. The thinner, the prettier, more delicate. I could do that in maybe a day. If it's fairly dry and it's not going to warp, I don't like to let it sit for months and have to redo it again. I want to finish it. The next step is I'm going to move this back. There's some cracks in there too, but not too sad. The closer you put the tool rest closer to the work, the less vibration you get from the tool as it's cutting. Now we're going to go deeper. So we're going to have to go below this area. So I'm going from a 60-degree bevel angle to a 65-degree, which allows you to get deeper and make your turns better when you're turning a corner and going deeper into a bowl. Right now I'm about 1.5 inches deep in the deepest. I still have about a 1/2 inch left because I have to take that tenon off. This is the part that makes me nervous because I don't want to get a catch. But the blade digs into the wood and sometimes it can throw the whole bowl off the blade. Take little tiny light touches. And you don't want to knock it, because then that's when it digs in. Yep, that's good. A little more than a 1/4 inch. Now what I got to do is turn it around and take off the tenon. And in order to take the tenon off, I need to hold it onto the lathe. So I use this piece, which is called a jam chuck. And what I do is I reattach it to the chuck, and once it's tight, I then mount the jam chuck into the bowl so that I can then take off the tenon. And once I take the tenon off, it's now a finished bowl. So I will finish this with a mahogany finish, and then then for shining I might do a spray lacquer, or I'll use a polyurethane.